Hello, I'm so happy I got a hold of you. Welcome back to another exciting episode of LTShowcase. We are back in the kitchen, and we are back with another 8-bit NES RPG. This time it is Willow, a game based on a movie I've never seen. Woo!
There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. I'm Lucious T. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life. This is Retroactive.
So I'll say I knew nothing of Willow. I've heard people say it's a Zelda-like game. I've heard people say it's pretty good. It's a fairly cheap game too. If I remember, it's like $10 still. Please, we need to get more shadow domination throughout the world. The only way we can do that is with your help. So please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share the video. It's made by Capcom, so it's got that going for it. It's definitely more of an action RPG because you level up, but it's all action combat now. Unlike Zelda, where Zelda smartly will strike from the inside out, this one goes outside in, so that had me worried it a little bit, but the hitbox and the way the sword hits is a much bigger radius than Anguna Warriors of Virtue, so you don't have to worry about enemies running into you. The other thing you can do is you can do a jab stab by holding a direction. It's a very linear game, which I actually think is a good thing. You very rarely have to backtrack, and you get a way to backtrack too. Towards the middle of the game, you get this bird that'll fly you back and forth with one of your magic spells, and he can take you to the beginning, he can take you there, but you really don't have a reason to. I will say I wish there was a flying area to the witch's hut in the mountain maze, because you get, that's about a good third of the game right there, where if you accidentally, or if you have to go back and heal, and you don't want to go and walk back to her, you have to fly back to the bar, and the bar is so far away. And another thing is, before you progress through the game, you have to do certain things to get certain chat trees to go away. So if you're at the section where you just got to the bar and you get Mad Mardigan and they're telling you about the ghost that you have to go talk to, it could take you about 3 minutes to click through all the chats, and I'm just trying to heal and get my magic back. You can grind for experience, which I recommend, because there's certain areas where you can get a bunch of quick levels. Chiefly right by the bar, there's this area where you can kill these crabs. I think I got 3 or 4 levels doing that. And then in the last section, you can farm by the witch's hut. You can farm the faces in the mountain using the thunder spell, and that will just give you a lot of free experience. It's a pretty boring way to do it, but if you die in the game, you go back down to the experience level you had when you died. So if you just hit level 5, any experience above that goes away when you die. Kind of similar to Zelda 2 in that regard. Now, one good thing is if you get items, if you get spells, if you progress the story and you're not in a dungeon, dungeons are usually the cave systems, you don't lose that stuff. So you can kind of use that to your advantage as a fast travel system. At least I used it in the beginning of the game, where I would complete a task, or I would level up, and I'm like, okay, I want to go heal now. Screw it, just die. So you get killed, and it'll bring you back. Now, there's a password system instead of a save system in this game, which, because I have the ability to record footage, wasn't so bad. I actually rather enjoyed it. The passwords are really long and complicated looking, and if I had to write it down, I'd probably get some of the characters wrong, but because I have essentially a picture of it, it's not as bad. But I can imagine back in the 80s, that password system, you thought you write an R and it's an L or an I or J. I could see issues happening with that. But the game itself is just fun. It like I said, the linearity of it makes it so that you don't need a guide to beat it. The section where it gets a little cumbersome, I think, is around the mountain maze, and then having to know, like, oh, you gotta go here, you gotta go there, you gotta leave the mountain to then go back and get this crystal and then come back, and I don't know anything about the movie. It made me want to watch the movie, I will say that. It definitely made me want to do that. You have several different swords you can get. I don't even think I got all of them. One of them you can hit ghosts with only, and then the other ones are just, based on what's the higher attack power. You have different magical abilities. For the most part, the heal is the only one I found useful. But you have thunder, you have fire, you have the magic cane that allows you to shoot stuff out. And then you get items. And the items all, while you're holding them, will give you different things. Like you can use the seed to then go through the water. You can hold the ring to give you extra power. And really, the other ones are kind of just one-offs. Like, you'll get them for a time, but they get used pretty quickly. So there's a lot of stuff in this game where you feel like it's more important than it actually is, or there's a spell that you have that you don't actually use. And the same thing with the shields and that. It's really just use the most recent shield. But I don't mind it. As far as it rewards exploration, but the game's not so big that you feel like you can explore. So I have a pretty good mind when it comes to tracking in these games. So I was able to find most stuff, find the chest, open this up, get there. They kind of trick you with that. The section that you have to get to at the very end of the game, you can see in the mountain maze, and so there's a chest blocking it. So I spent a good probably 45 minutes trying to get to that section, only to realize that, oh, that's where you exit and then go up the mountain to the evil castle. But a solid game. Combat's fun. The enemies are, they kind of repeat a lot. There's not that much diversity of enemies, but for what they do have, it works. Floating skulls and little glob things. Now, I did have an issue where you get this one spell that turns you into an enemy, and that's the only way you can walk over the section of these open, gaping mouths. I could have sworn I did that, and I still got hurt. And then when I went and I actually looked up that one section, I'm like, there's got to be an easier way than just walking through it. Because I walked through it. One of the times I just had enough health and enough healing. I'm like, alright, screw it, let's do it. And I read, like, oh, you could, so I tried it, and it worked. Whatever. And then sometimes you have to talk to NPCs multiple times and they'll give you something, or you'll have done something else and then the next time you see them they'll do something else. So for instance, the town of Dew, I remember I got there and everyone's like, you're not welcome here, you're not welcome here. I did something and then suddenly they're like, oh hey, how you doing? Wow, we love you so much. Or at the very end of the game where you're supposed to walk into the cabin to get the special key, and it's in a door that won't open, and then suddenly now the door just opens. Like, stuff like that can pad the game length a little bit, but it doesn't ruin the enjoyment. And as far as an 8-bit RPG goes, I really liked it. It's a solid action RPG for what the money it's worth. I would recommend it. If I was going to give this game a review, probably give it an 8, which is a solid rating for it. Music is pretty okay. It's not bad. It's not great. It can droll a little bit. The mountain maze definitely kind of starts wearing on you. But before that, the game's just bang, bang, bang. I had a great time. I think I beat it over the course of 3 days. But anyways, there you go. Willow, pick it up, play it. That's your homework.